Hi, it's Nicole for Bella Blvd, and today I am diving back into the Love Grows Here collection with a product focus on the chipboard. Now, normally I am a crafter who avoids chipboard, but I will say in the last year or two, a lot of manufacturers have shifted to a much thinner product, and it's not the kind of cardboard feel, it's more of like a stacked cardstock feel, and I love it. So to get started, I am going through my scraps and my leftovers from the first layout that I made with Love Grows Here. And I am also following a sketch. I will link it down below in the YouTube description on my channel. And when I look for sketches, I typically have something specific that I'm looking for. In this case, I was really wanting to play with the cut apart borders. So besides looking for a sketch that would fit two photos, I was also kind of on the hunt for something that heavily focused on strips or had like a large piece that I could modify into strips. So I am cutting some of my favorite borders off of this to go ahead and mix in with a lot of the B-sides from Love Grows Here. I love being able to kind of mix in just a lot of different patterns and a lot of different colors. I did try to challenge myself to use the A-sides. They did not come into play today. Now, I am going to show, I do this a lot. I take a scrap of cardstock and kind of tape it to my trimmer. And this just allows me to make sure that I'm getting as accurate of cuts as I possibly can when I have a lot of pieces that I want to have the edges line up. So I tape a piece of cardstock to my trimmer, and then when I'm lining these up, I'm just kind of tapping it against that edge, just barely kind of touching it. Now, I will say I'm gonna recut these to, I want to say 7 inches. I needed to do a modification. So here you can see my photos. I have I think that's a 2.5 by 3 and then a 3 by 4. So basically they're both a 3-inch height. And this is when I'm like, why does this look so weird? I really liked how on the original sketch, the photos really kind of filled in the horizontal area of this kind of big chunky stripe and only left about a 1/2 inch margin on either side. But it was sized for 2 4x4 photos, which in total creates an 8-inch section. By modifying my photos, I have about a 6.5-inch section, so that's kind of where I've got this extra 1.5 inches going on. So I am going to trim these down. You can see I've moved my little cardstock guide over, and even though it's really close to the lip of my trimmer, all I do is sort of kind of carefully bend my paper down over that, and like I said, I'm just kind of kissing the edge of that cardstock. And it doesn't really matter how you do this, as long as however you kind of curve your paper or touch your paper to that, as long as you're doing it the same way every time, your pattern papers should line up. So I got all of those attached to just some plain white cardstock. Then I'm going to draw some pencil lines to do some hand stitching. I did go ahead and decide not to stitch on the 2 borders that have the pre-printed text. I just kind of felt like it was a tight squeeze, and I didn't want to lose the detail of those like text borders. So here you can see I finished my hand stitching, brought all of this back in, and then this is going to go pretty quickly. One of the things that I really like on the chipboard sheet are these big kind of chunky phrases that you can make a title with. So I'm going to take this word happy and the word love. Now, I did try to plan my pattern paper color choices around these words. Personally, I don't love that I picked yellow so close to the word yellow. I just feel like it doesn't really have a chance to stand out as well as how the word happy stands out. But I also just couldn't keep going back and forth with different pattern paper choices. So I probably could have done like the pink hearts and swapped that for the yellow flowers, but you know, at the end of the day, done is better than not done because you couldn't make a choice. I pulled these tags from the die cut pack and I'm going to layer them behind my little photo mat here just to kind of bring some more interest and pops of color up there. I'm going to go ahead and kind of nestle this chipboard tree up here next to my photos and with my title and just try to have everything sort of touching and existing together, I guess. And my letters are going up and over my photo. I like to do that if I have enough like dead space in the photo to kind of make it work. I added this little my favorite space phrase. And I did want to mention my photos are basically my kids and a friend's kids when they still lived here. We used to go to the park next door to the elementary school and kind of have these after school, you know, half hour get out the zoomies before we go home, let traffic clear out kind of a thing. They have since moved. I miss them. But I feel like this layout and the one that I've done prior, neither one of them were family focused, and Love Grows Here is a very family focused collection. So I just kind of think it's interesting that when I view Love Grows Here, for some reason, all the houses and the trees and stuff make me think more neighbor community than my own family. So I'm hoping by the time, I'm sure I'll have like a third assignment with Love Grows Here, that I am going to have to try to challenge myself to actually focus on the family concept that is so ingrained in this collection. I am going to use my favorite die here to cut out my journaling strips. I kept it super simple. I didn't really have like anything sentimental to say. Just like I said, kept it simple, included my date in the journaling, did not forget it this time. And I do like to adhere my journaling strips with some 1mm foam strip or foam adhesive. And then I'm just going to kind of tuck them up here above these tags. I felt like they kind of popped off that stripe paper really well. And yeah, that was it. I had included some flowers from the die cut pack and flowers from the enamel shapes as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that I hope you're looking at Love Grows Here outside of just the family theme, and I will catch you guys next time. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not done it yet, and leave me any questions you have down in the comments below. Bye.